Hi, everybody. This is John from AU Pack Mule, and I'm here today on day 15. We are halfway through our 30 days of live streams. And today we're going to be doing 10 random book questions from A Song of Ice and Fire. And my guest, as normal, does not have any idea of what the questions are. So we're going to be shooting from the hip and enjoying the discussion, because that's what it's all about, having a good time answering these questions and going back and forth. Talking to all you in the chat and hopefully getting some comments from people watching this later on. So I hope you're going to enjoy this. Tonight, we have none other than the Lord Commander of the Not So Silent Sisters, Alicia Kingston. So I'm really excited to have you on.
You just made me
Alicia,
sound so much grander than I actually am. Like, wow, that was an epic show.
Would you like to say hello and let everybody know what's going on with the NSSS and everything that's going on with you that you want to share?
Yes, greetings and salutations, my loved ones. Lord Commander of Memes is my title for the evening. Throughout the conversation, you'll see just random memes will pop up for no reason at all. I'm gonna be here chilling with AU for tonight. Probably going to be on with BBM tomorrow. Look out for that one. NSSS, I think we'll be back on Monday. Probably no ginger ale chat this weekend, guys, because, yeah, we can only do that like once a month. That was a heavy, epic stream, so we can't do that all the time. But that's about all that's going on. Auntie Monero is working on something special. She'll be having that come out soon, so keep a lookout on that and subscribe to all the ladies. They got good things going on.
Yeah, we have Lady Diligence putting out some really new epic stuff, and of course the NSSS always doing it on Sphinx's channel, Christina the Sphinx. And I was trying to put a link to your channel, but I see that's not possible tonight.
That is strange and unusual.
I'm so sorry. Well, you'll have to go to the channel and ask or give me the answer later on. But if you can send it to me, I will add it.
Send you the link. Yeah, we'll do.
Okay. The correct link, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Well, did you follow me when I made the new channel? That might be what the issue is.
Okay. That's probably what it is. So we got quite a few people in the chat already. Of course, Broke Black Man 94 is here. He was first, so we got to give him creds for that. Yes. Timo 30, T-Baby.
Timo Lisi.
Timo Lisi, yeah, that's right. She's only on when the Not So Silent Sisters are on. I love that. Get some epic feedback from Timo. Plexi's here. Thanks for being here. Even Alicia Kingston's here in the chat, so that's nice. There's
another me in the chat. I am awesome.
Lav, thank you so much. She didn't make it first, but she's number one in my heart, so that's all that matters, right?
Smooches, Lavi.
Right there. Dish Murphy's here. Thank you for being here. So I don't know if you know this, but I've never been a watcher of The Walking Dead, and I know you're a big fan and a big advocate for what's going on with The Walking Bread. And so I've been catching up over the last couple of weeks, been watching the different episodes. I'm up to 7.5, so almost to the current.
Yes, there's many more to come. Yeah, you guys, if you are Walking Dead fans and you generally just like comics, head over to the Walking Bread channel and check out the issues that my boys are doing over there. I, Lord Commander, voice Michonne after issue 52, I believe. And Christina the Sphinx, captain of the Not So Silent Sisters, voices Dr. Denise. So go check us out. Give them boys some support. Hit them likes and subscribe.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. Thanks for sharing that. I do have a question, though. When I was watching these episodes, I'm going, towards, I think it was the end of season 6, when Michonne and Rick hook up. I'm like, what?
You didn't see it coming?
I never, ever.
Michonne, man, in my headcanon, Michonne's been his girl since like season 4.
Since before the prison.
Like they just always had great chemistry. To me, I didn't expect that she would get that storyline. Someone else has that in the comics, but that character isn't around anymore. But it makes sense. It made sense in my head when it happened. To me, the connection was there.
Gotcha. But you knew it before it happened on screen, correct?
Did I know it was going to happen for sure?
Yeah.
No.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
No, I did not.
Good for you to see that, because I was totally caught off guard. Of course, I'm binging this stuff like 12 hours a day, so it's probably not the best way to consume this. But
no, that's how you binge. That's the proper formula for binging. That's how it's done. You look like a zombie after about 2 weeks, and then you rest up and you come back to life.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a shock for me. I've probably enjoyed the last few episodes more than I did the first 5 seasons. So quite a bit different pace. So I like that too.
Yeah.
Hey, Air Touch is here. Air Touch out the nose.
Air Touch, what goes
My man.
on?
Thanks for being here. So I have a question in regards to the Lord Commander as we start watching Game of Thrones, as we know, Jeor Mormont. But in the books, obviously he had given up rule of Bear Island to go to the Night's Watch and then eventually become the Lord Commander there. Can you tell me, I mean, after reading all of this, why you think he's so willingly gave that up? Or do you think it was a conspiracy type of a plan to be there at that particular time? Because obviously he took over not too long after Bloodraven left.
Well, my previous thoughts were that he was just that honorable guy. And not to take away from the person he is saying it that way, don't get me wrong. Because I do think that, he was getting old in age, and at that point in time, they were in times of peace, and it was Bear Island. He wasn't really doing a whole lot over there anyway. I mean, to be real about the situation. So why not, And it's like, let me see if I can think of the quote. In A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, there's a quote about an old tiger going off by himself to die because he's got his greatness, he's got his reputation, but he's not gonna let anyone see him just wither away in old age. So I liken that to Jeor Mormont a little bit, to where he goes to the Night Watch, he knows he can be useful there, and clearly he was right, because he rose to Lord Commander pretty quickly. I mean, I don't think he just went in there and they made him Lord Commander, but they saw his skill, they saw what he can do, and that's the position he got. And he did the best that he could with that. And unlike some Northern lords, he did not ignore his spidey senses when it came to the mystical things, and he started investigating. Sadly, along the way, he lost his life. But them's the breaks. Lord Commanders don't seem to last long at the wall.
That is for sure. I didn't realize Monero was putting out a video tonight, but I just got to notice that on Monero Geek TV, she has a bedtime story. So
yes, that is what I said. When I said Auntie Nero is putting out a story.
Gotcha.
He's Auntie Nero when it comes to that bedroom voice that she has.
I gotcha. Okay. So yeah, I just thought it was really strange how he gave up that. Really about the time that Jon was born, not too much difference between that time. And, there's this new theory about, and I say new, it could be old, but
it could be old, but for me, it's new too. Yeah. I was actually going to bring that up. I know what theory you're talking about. That's why I started off with my previous belief was just, the old tiger, well, the old bear in his case, is going to go off and do some last minute badass shit and try to end well. But if newer theories are to be taken into account, there could be a conspiracy, and he may possibly have been sent to the wall as punishment for crimes that someone else did, namely his sister. But that again is tinfoil. Respect to Order of the Green Hand, because I do like the theory. I just don't know if it really fits in with the narrative.
I was thinking more of the Green Hand. Mance is Arthur Dane theory, where he would need to be there to cover for him.
Yeah, that. I don't know. The this person is another person. I think started for me anyway. Once I got into the fandom with James of Thrones, thinking that Mance is Rhaegar, which I don't believe. But there are other people with that have come out with theories that think, you know, this person is that person from the past hiding out. And some of it makes sense, but I can't really get on board with it. It seems like something that would be used too much. I don't think George would have that many people being other people, so to speak, at one time.
There's a limit to the glamour,
he's not repetitive like that.
Yeah, that I could see that happening too.
But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, anything really is possible. We won't know for sure. We can come out with a whole encyclopedia's worth of theories and tinfoil. Matter of fact, if you put everybody's stuff together, it probably is a whole volume of theories of encyclopedias that we can make. But we won't know until George, you know, tells us what's what.
If he ever does.
If he ever does. Fingers crossed.
So you do a lot of fan fiction and writing. When you're reading these, how do you keep the characters so separated? Because there's, what, 1,000 of them?
You know, I'm not sure how exactly to answer that, because like there's tons of characters in a Game of Thrones, in the whole of A Song of Ice and Fire.
Sure.
And I happen to have a fan fiction story that I'm working on that has characters from about 20 different shows, storylines that I just merged into this one weird world of my imagination. And I want to say it's not hard to keep them separated. When you're the one that is writing these point of views, you know in the back of your head where you want everything to go. You don't know the exact journey right away, but you know, like from plot A to plot B, how you want it to start, how you want it to end. And you write in the middle, I guess maybe ad-lib might be the right word. You know, you go with where your imagination and your thoughts lead you. And you know how you just remember how you want everything to connect. I keep an outline because I'm a weird nerd and I make lists and things like that all the time.
When you're reading?
When I'm reading, if the plot is heavy, yes. Like with Game of Thrones, I had to write stuff down because there's a lot to it. Especially when I was first starting out to keep everything straight. Yeah, I had an Excel spreadsheet to make sure I was keeping stuff straight.
Monero just joined us in the chat. We just wanted to say welcome to you and
Auntie
thank you very much for joining us. And don't think that we didn't announce your upload. So we definitely told people that you put that out, but I'm sure everybody's subscribed to your channel and got the notice as well. So hopefully they'll be watching that as soon as we're done here, right?
Yes. We need to hear this bedtime story.
Yeah, I think one of the problems I have is in the Dany chapters where, you know, you've got probably 5 or 6 characters that could be interchanged that are just really hard to keep track of why they're so important, you know.
Indeed. Hold on. Can you talk to the chat really quick? I just got a text from a friend and it seems like something is rather distressing at the moment.
Okay. Yeah.
Give me like 2 minutes.
Yep. We'll hold down the fort for Alicia. You guys in the chat, basically, we're going to go through, 10 random book questions, but at the end, we'll have some time to do questions from you. So if you can, just jot those down and I'll write them down and save them for later. Then we can answer them. And then Alicia will give me a couple of tough questions as well. I do want to thank all of you for being here again, especially to all the people that have done this prior. Love was the first one. Broke Black Man was right after. We had a great epic discussion with Jerry the Targaryen Steamboat yesterday, and a new streamer that has been in the chat for a long time, Lauren McCullough. She did a great job for her first time. T-Baby, of course, is here tonight. I'm still trying to put the arm behind Timo 30's back and get her on here as well. But I do appreciate everybody that's helped in this project, and I hope everybody's doing well out there. Speaking of which, Kyle's Fucking Chickens did another video release today about season 7. I'm trying to stay away from most of the season 7 news, but it's getting harder and harder as you get people like him and Tony Teflon from Teflon TV doing them. I don't know about you guys, but can you give me an idea of how is your consumption of season 7 news? Would you want more of it, or do you want none of it, or just as whatever you come across is okay? You guys are talking Vikings. Yeah, Vikings have been great this year. I think Timo 30 says, I'm free tonight. Well, I'll send you an invite if you'd like.
Timo can get on here like right now.
She can get all that, right? As Christina says.
Come on, Timo Lisi. Do not disappoint the people.
Yeah, I've been steering clear of it too, T-Baby. That's yeah, we won't give you any spoilers on Vikings, that's for sure. I'll make you a moderator. It's just a click of a button.
Timed out. Everybody gets timed out, even if you're a moderator, Timo.
Oh, you mean because of the number of comments?
Yeah, how many comments you need?
Gotcha.
You have to take a 30-second break. Like, for what though? I don't understand why.
Because they don't want you to dominate a chat. That's basically.
I guess.
Give everybody a chance. Because otherwise, you'll just keep putting in.
Timo, stop with them excuses, ma'am. No, I do not accept that.
Everybody knows that she's making them up.
Mm-hmm.
We'll catch you next time.
Weak. So weak, Timo.
So we were talking about the characters in the book and how you keep them separated. But as you've been reading these books and then doing the rereads, obviously, for the massive amount of projects you've been working on, did you come across a character that you saw different? Like maybe Craster or Jaime, Cersei, maybe?
I don't know if I could say I see Craster any differently, but I definitely want to know how he got to be the God-fearing man that he says he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like who spoke to the others for you, because they don't speak our language. They may know it, and I honestly I have a feeling that they do know the common tongue, but they don't speak it. Like we never hear them. Whenever they talk, it's the sound of cracking ice. But clearly Craster spoke with someone that translated that deal that he's had for, what is Craster, like in his 60s maybe? And I mean, he's been having kids since forever. So what, say about 30-40 years ago, someone came along and made that deal with him to start giving his sons. How did he know how to do that? Because the only thing that we've heard for communication with the White Walkers is like the symbols they use and their language that sounds like cracking ice.
Yeah.
Who either read those symbols, and what symbols did they use to translate, we'll leave you alone if you give us your sons?
I don't know if you saw the Golden Girls of Westeros video last night with Aziz
Yes.
talking about Blood Raven. That was really great. I'm glad that they did that. He mentioned the fact that where Craster came from was a village called White something, where
That's
they.
White Pines, I want to say.
Anyways, I think the point I was trying to make is that that was a common practice for the village, and it I want to say that there was some sort of that happening prior to Craster doing it. So it might have had to do with the fact that they have these woods witches, green seers, etc., that are the communication for the North. So it might have happened that way.
Makes sense. Yeah. I do concur. I mean, one of his wives, or daughter wives, the nasty bastard, probably has a touch of some type of magic in her blood. So that wouldn't surprise me if, maybe she had a dream or something of what to do so they could not be bothered by the others.
For sure. Yeah, because it's like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? In that situation, there is no confirmation, but
right.
hopefully we'll get to see that in future books, as far as the origin of Craster's starting the sacrifice.
T-Baby says, "Who got that magic?"
T-Baby's got the magic, that's for sure.
Don't she though? Keep trying to tell her.
So speaking of the Watch, why do you think the focus of the Watch really changed? Why did the Wildlings just become their enemy? And why? I mean, they're humans, so why do they care about them?
Because over time, people forget. It's like Galadriel's opening in The Lord of the Rings. Legend goes into myth, and
Whispers.
and whispers are just random stories that some dude tells around the campfire. When you don't have that great enemy to face anymore, one or two more generations after that, you're just there, and the only enemy that you really see are these random dudes that don't give a fuck about the Seven Kingdoms and just want to live beyond the wall. But they still need supplies. They still need to live. So the quickest way for them to get those supplies is to steal and try to get past the wall. So there's your conflict. I mean, you have all these guys. What were there? 19 castles at the wall at one point in time that were fully functioning and full of people. So you have all these soldiers. You have this great army. You have to give them something to do. And over time, the wildling numbers, I think they used to be a lot greater than they were now, even with Mance being able to gather his 100,000 plus soldiers. I think that there were definitely more people out there way back then. So there was a bigger threat as it comes. And while their numbers did dwindle because everybody kept pushing south, slowly but surely, all of them kept coming south closer to the wall. The Night's Watch numbers dwindled as well because nobody cares when there's no great glory really to be had in that world anymore. So, of course, like they said, the prestige of the Night's Watch has completely declined. Now it really is just like a penal colony.
Right.
So those 19 castles, only 3 of them are functioning, and barely functioning at that.
Exactly.
They all have like the bare minimum that they can have. Excuse me.
Yeah, it does seem like the fact that they're going, the wildlings are going back and forth across the wall, just seems like, why not open the gates? I mean, other than the fact that they're not going to bend the knee, which is...
You would think.
Yeah.
But if you think about the person that Mance is and what he will do for his people, the lengths he will go to, can you imagine how strong the North would be? And it's not like they don't have the room. They do.
Oh, sure.
They're very much like Russia way back in the day. If you contrast Russia and Germany, Germany is small, but they got a lot of muscle. There's a lot of people, good soldiers there. Russia was huge, but they weren't very highly populated. So they only looked like they were really strong. They weren't as good in the soldier form. If any Stark at all would have had a thought to say, let me go talk to this motherfucker real quick. How strong would the North have been? The
Huge.
Vale army, if you look at them, the Vale, their soldiers are good, yes. But if Jon Arryn or any of his ancestors would, let me go up into the mountains, let me talk to these cats, bring them into the fold, how tough would those lands really be now? Sure. The North has to do a whole lot to survive winter. If they had more people populating those lands, working all those lands during the growing season, Wintertown would not be overflowing every winter with people trying to stay warm. The elderly would not be kicked out of their homes. I don't care. They say they leave honorably so they can leave more food for other people. No, they're basically being kicked out of their homes so the younger generation could have more food and a better chance to live and survive the winter. That would not have been needed to happen because you would have had the population there to get all that land farmed. When the Boltons took over and Roose took Ramsay onto that hill and he said, look 400 miles that way, what do you see? Look 700 miles that way, what do you see? And the camera pans around, there's nothing in those areas but grass.
So true.
You bring the wildlings down south, you make a deal. Fine, you don't want to bow to the king of the seven kingdoms, whatever. Make your deal with me. Have your accord with the Starks and let them deal with the king. The North would have been lit, plain and simple. But nobody thought of that. I don't know why.
Nobody wants to cooperate, right?
But then again, it's logic. I'm looking for logic in these things. People don't need logic.
Plus, you're dealing with men.
Yeah. It's never that easy.
Yeah. We want to know whose sword is bigger.
Always. And a Game of Thrones is basically about whose dick is bigger.
It's all about the sword.
When you break it down to bare bones, that's all it is.
Speaking of which, George R. R. Martin is a pacifist from the Vietnam era, as you probably know. Why do you think he has so much death in here from war in this story? or do you have any idea why he puts that in there?
The broken man speech. It's not war can, as bloody as it is, it can be glorious. You know, that's how you see some of these great people through history prove their valor, how they come out emerging as great leaders of men, of people. But the part that nobody talks about is the mothers whose sons are never coming home. The daughters who, back in the days when it was all swordplay, the daughters that got carried off into any type of slavery, the children that will never see their parents again because of this. Sorry. It's all in that. That's one of the reasons why I love the broken man's speech so much, because it shows all of that. Mm-hmm. It shows all of that completely. He wants everyone to see the dark side of what war is, the lands that are ravaged after everyone goes home, the lands that still get terrorized because some of these guys desert and they don't go back home, but they still need to eat and still need to live. So what else are they going to do but turn to crime? That's what I think he wants to show. He wants everyone to see how horrible war really is.
So have you shared with people on a stream about what you think the end game will be? That being said, with the bittersweet ending. I
am not. See, it changes every time I think about it. I'm not sure how it's going to completely end. When we know that the last book is going to be called A Dream of Spring, I think that that's going to be exactly what it is. I don't think the war is going to be over. All battles will not have been fought yet. They're literally going to be like hunkered down in, I don't know, maybe one of the mazes made of fused black stone that help keep the others out. And they're going to be dreaming of spring. They're going to be trying to figure out how they're going to bring the Dawn back. And I think it's going to take a lot of sacrifice. There's going to be hella blood spilled. The world, again, like after the first and second long night, is going to be a very broken place. The main battleground, I think, is going to be Westeros, but I think there's going to be the White Walkers are going to touch everybody in that world. At least all the lands that we know about already.
Sam Sand asked about the Talking Thrones video with Daniel Portman, and I don't know if you heard me earlier, but I honestly try to stay as far away from the leaks and what is being said. I haven't been
into the spoilers too much. In the very beginning, I saw like those leaks that came out, but I haven't been keeping up with anything new that's come out, so I don't know.
Yeah, I've been taking the emoji approach.
Yeah. Like I'll see, the video pop up. I'm like, oh, I'll read the title. This scene confirmed with Daenerys Targaryen. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Next. I'll wait.
Oh, that's funny. So I don't know if you heard last night's video with Jerry, the Targaryen steamboat. We were talking about the whole, Mance Rayder being Arthur Dayne and all that stuff. Did you listen to any of the Order of the Green Hand about that situation?
I have listened to all of them. I only remember bits and pieces as it is because I've only watched them like once or twice.
Yeah.
I will probably sometime this weekend be going back and looking and listening to all of them again because I think the way they put things together is valid. I like the connections they've made. I don't necessarily believe all the routes that they're going down, but I mean, I like theories. I'm a theory geek to the fullest, so I appreciate hearing like new approaches and hearing how people put things together differently. I love their videos. I think it's great.
Yeah. So, do you think there's a possibility for that, based on what we know so far?
I think there's about as big a possibility of that as, Rhaegar being glamored as Mance. It's unlikely, but it's still doesn't discredit it. It definitely could be. I mean, George has done random things that have surprised us all throughout the series already. So why the fuck not?
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's done everything else but tell a boring story.
Exactly. We might get down the line and find out that some loyal subject somewhere after the rubies were stolen, they got Rhaegar's body out of there, and maybe he wasn't all the way dead. Maybe he was only mostly dead. We don't know.
Dead. He could have been given the kiss of life, right?
He could have been given, a little piece of chocolate, the kiss of life, whatever. Tomato.
So we've been hearing a lot of theories about since the beginning of these books about who Jon's father is. One of them is Robert actually raped Lyanna, and I was reading a description of Jon Snow and how small he was, fast and everything, very lean. If he was Robert's son, wouldn't he? I mean, Robert was 6'6" roughly, and it just seems like that would be
that I don't really call theories absurd because I don't like to discredit anyone's opinion. What you think is what you think, and that's perfectly fine. But Robert raping Lyanna is something that would never happen. In my brain, I can't see that connecting. Would she, had everything gone through and she would have married him and did her duty, which she would have, I think, if everything had run through the way Rickard wanted it to go.
Didn't want to interrupt you, but I just saw Marie Hill's Game of Theories with Marie and Nan on, and just want to say hi. And really enjoyed your video last night. Yeah, that was fantastic. Thanks for stopping by.
But yeah, I don't see that ever happening. So and Robert was smooth. No doubt. He got the draws whenever he wanted to. So that in itself, he doesn't need to rape anyone.
Doing the research for another guest that I had on with the questions, I came across an interesting story about Kit Harington actually dyeing his hair black, which, obviously is the Baratheon color. But in the books, he's supposed to have brown hair and be exactly like, Ned, which I thought was kind of strange.
Yeah, I kind of disliked how they didn't keep the coloring of all the kids. It would have fit a lot better, I think. But they did what they did. I don't know how Jon could ever be Robert's rape baby. that just doesn't compute in my head at all. He would not have been able to talk Lyanna into doing anything because she didn't really want to do the shit anyways. And
Because
he would never need to force himself onto anyone.
Yeah.
He was a pimp. I mean, plain and simple. He didn't have to do that. So I don't think it would ever go in his mind to do that to anyone, especially to Lyanna, who he desperately wanted to marry.
Long term, yeah.
I can't see that happening. But Kit, I don't know. Kit, why? That makes me wonder what color his hair actually is if he had to dye it black.
He's got brown hair.
Oh, all right. Every movie I've seen him in, he's had his hair black.
Yeah, it's probably because they want Jon Snow to be the character in the movie. They don't want him to be Kit Harington, or you know what I mean. That
sells it. I still crack up every time I think about his movie roles, though. He's died in everything. And everything. So maybe he is Ned's son, and we just really they're trying to tell us, but they're doing it in a
Sean Bean's son.
way.
That's what it is.
Just
right?
Saying.
Sean
I mean,
Bean's
if anybody else's theory is plausible, I think that's plausible too.
That's so funny. Speaking of Jon, why do you think Ned brought him to Winterfell to begin with, as opposed to Greywater Watch or the Eyrie or any of the other northern houses that wouldn't care if they housed Ned Stark's bastard?
2 reasons. One, because he loved his sister. They were with Lyanna. I think it's shown that she was very close to both Benjen and Ned. And 2, because the Starks having bastards in their court is not a new thing at all. That you look through their lines, that's been in their history forever. Like Catelyn said, and I can't believe I'm quoting her, but the Starks are not like other men. If they fuck up, or if they even do it on purpose and make a bastard, they're not gonna hide that shit. No, you're mine, my son, my daughter, whatever. I'm raising you. You're coming to Winterfell. That's basically it. Plus, I think, if with Rhaegar being his father, and I do think that that's the actual truth, Ned's not going to want him anywhere else but right where he can see him, so he can protect him as much as he can.
Yeah, it just seems strange that if he's trying to protect him, and he is trying to protect Catelyn from saying who he is or any of that, it just seems like it would be so easy for him to put him, especially Greywater Watch, where his supposed bannerman is, in charge.
Yeah, Howland definitely would have housed him if asked, but I still think there's something hinky going on with Howland, and I feel like maybe Ned knew that as well. So again,
did you hear my weird theory with Ned and Howland?
I don't think so. Do tell.
So I shared this with Jerry last night. I think Ned and Howland were actually lovers from the time of Harrenhal. I don't know if you know.
They did spend the night together.
Yeah, he shared the tent. But, Howland cried when he found out Ned died. They never talk about their experience together with Howland and Ned, either one of them. And I don't know if you think this, but I always think of Ned as being someone who's totally tormented.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and I don't know if you've experienced this, but I've worked with several people that have been married at one time, had kids, and then came out of the closet, changed
Mm-hmm.
their lifestyle completely, and they just seemed so much happier because they were, free.
Yep.
And to go the reverse of that, I would think that would cause that anxiety that Ned experienced.
I could see it. I don't think that that's what it'd be, but you know what? If George wrote it that way and he came out with that, I wouldn't be surprised. Quite honestly, I really
Yeah.
wouldn't be. I mean, look at all the guys that are gay now. I mean, they're in that world. It's looked down upon, but everyone knows they're there still.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
and
Blackfish and Loris.
yeah, a lot of people think that Blackfish is gay. That's
Yeah.
not the vibe I've gotten from Blackfish, but again, it is possible, But Loris, he definitely was, and while they say he hid it, he honestly was pretty obvious, both him and Renly. But he was badass with the sword, so I don't really think that the sexuality would necessarily define them and make it stand out too much. So I mean, if they needed to hide it, they could have. I don't think that that's what happened, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did.
But I brought up the fact that Jesus cried when Lazarus died. The shortest verse in all the Bible where Jesus wept. That's a good point. Thanks, Biotic, for shooting me down right away. No,
Welcome back, BBM. Welcome back.
No, I have been thinking about this whole Ned thing being, his honor being always talked about, and how he really hated the fact that he, promised, he made promises in front of the the weirwood tree, etc. Now he can't keep or couldn't have kept, and it just makes me think about that.
That would make him a bit more tragic, honestly. I mean, I already think he's a tragic character.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish he would not have ignored his spidey senses. Like we were talking about it. Me and the girls were talking about it the other day. that quote unquote wild wolf blood that the Starks had, it was more prominent in Brandon and Lyanna, and there's evidence that they themselves were skin changers. It didn't manifest a lot with Ned. Everyone said, the quiet wolf, and I think a lot of that would be because he grew up mostly in the Vale. But I don't think it skipped him completely, like a lot of people think. Like Ned, he was very intuitive when it came to certain things. He just ignored his feelings, which helped to be his downfall.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, he definitely did not have any spidey senses whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I do like the point that you brought up
but that's
with the
more
quiet wolf. That's true. He was definitely the quiet wolf, as opposed to his brother, who was very boisterous and.
Yeah. Brandon was definitely running around slinging dick, just like Robert. He was just a little more quieter about how.
Well, that's that's one of the things that made me start thinking about this too. Is we know in the story Renly was gay, but and when I was reading it, I kept thinking about the whole his pining over Marjorie's picture. Robert was thinking about getting rid of Cersei and marrying Marjorie, and they had a picture that was passed around, and Renly was like, "Oh, I'm so excited about this woman," and it just threw me off.
I don't know. Renly was good at getting into character. Quite honestly, doing what he thought needed to be done. That's all I can chalk that up to.
Very true. Very, very true. So another question is totally unrelated, and it's about the Targaryens.
Mm-hmm.
We've read the history of the Targaryen lineage from the time, Aegon came, et cetera, et cetera. And we finally get to the point where they're, pretty much almost gone from the whole story. Why do you think that George, because of the complication of the story, why didn't he just take them out of it and make that family be gone? What's the...
I think it has to do with the fantasy element. It's a song of ice and fire. You have to have that fire element in there, and the people that follow R'hllor are not enough. Yes, there's some magic going on, but you look at the stuff that Melisandre does. She uses like powders and oils and stuff to make things happen. They're a bunch of tricksters. Now, when it comes to people that I think are a bit more higher level, like Kinvara, she's definitely tapped with something. I don't think it's necessarily a god that they're following, but some being of higher intelligence is out there helping them. So they don't really count for the fire, I think. You have to have those dragons in there, just like you have to have the direwolves. They're very important elements for the fantasy aspect, in my thought. Like I said, it's a song of ice and fire, so you have to have that balance with ice and fire. If you completely wipe out the fire
spectrum,
then it's not going to be, the world is going to forever be in chaos. At the end, I think there is going to be some more death where the Targaryens are concerned, but there's still going to be someone to carry on that bloodline. It has to be, otherwise everything's going to stay out of whack. You have to have that balance. Or I could be just completely off my head and not know what the hell I'm talking about.
No, I think it's a good point. Otherwise you'd have to change the name of the book, right?
Exactly. It can't just be a song of ice or a minuet of ice.
The different levels of snow.
Right. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work.
Speaking of snow, we have the long winters and the short summers and summer snows and all the different seasons that are different than here, in our world. Why do you think that was put in the show, and what effect does it really have on the story?
Well, I think that goes back to fantasy again, because we know from Martin himself, the seasons are out of whack because of magic. And if you are a fan of Westeros history like I am, then you by now have seen the Great Empire of the Dawn theory video that they did with Lucifer means Lightbringer. And you start to put things together when you put the histories in place. It's said that after the first long night, the world was a very broken place. Well, look at Asshai. Asshai is large. I don't think a lot of people notice, because it's not talked about a whole lot in the show, and it's not mentioned that much in the books even. But it's a very large landmass. That was probably a capital city way back in the day. That was a part of the Great Empire of the Dawn. They were all of those gemstone emperors. They were huge magic wielders. I think they were kind of like the Asgardians. They mixed science and magic, and that was like their way of life. But they used that shit too much to bad ends, and the Line of Night came out when the Maiden Lady of Light or something or other like that, she turned her back on the world, and the Line of Night came out, and everything ended up being broken. Asshai is not a great thriving metropolis anymore. It's a city that's all in darkness, and nothing grows there at all. Too much dark magic, I think. And magic is never really light or dark. It's how it's used, but too many bad things with magic happening there. And the same thing with that city in Sithorios, Yin. Nothing grows around that pyramid for a reason. There's too much evil done there for anything to be able to function. It all goes back to freaking magic. And
I wanted to say goodbye to AirTouch. He had to take off. So thank you very much for being here.
Good night, AirTouch. Thank you for coming in, sweetie.
We know it's like 4 a.m. there, so thank you for being here.
He needs to get some rest. But I got off a little bit.
Just a little
Bring it
rabbit
back.
hole.
What was the original question?
What's a rabbit hole between friends, right?
Exactly.
So tell me what aspect of this story really turns you off, when you were reading it?
Yeah. I think it's accepting that so many bad things keep happening. Or I guess, no, let me say so many things going right for bad people.
Mm.
Which in real life, honestly, that's how it works sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be a realist when you're reading a story such as this, because Martin really doesn't pull any punches. He doesn't hold back. And while I despise that a little bit, I love it just the same because it's keeping a little truer, I think, to how things could actually happen. Well, that's probably the biggest thing.
Gotcha.
Other things are,
I hope I didn't miss you, Lav, but thank you for being here. Lav had to take off too. So.
Oh, good night, Lavi.
Rats of Rove. Oh, so we talked about a couple of relationships in the story. Are we missing any that you can think of that maybe as you were reading the story that whether it be Mance and his family or his wildling upbringings, or maybe somebody from Dorne, that you put together that.
I would like to know more about the Danes and more about the giants and the wildlings in general. Like, we know they're in different tribes up there beyond the wall and whatnots.
Mm-hmm.
But why? Like, what? I know, at one point in time they got like made to go back up there. But why were they there in the first place? Because they've like always been trying to get south. Why were you there at all? What made your ancestors decide to stay up there?
Well, I'm sure the wall had something to do with it. The fact that there's no enemy and you have the freedom to do what you want. And if you're in the Night's Watch, why not take off and, after you've been
Very true.
convicted of murder? I mean, we're talking 8,000 years. So there's time
a lot of time for room to grow. Yeah.
And we've got cannibals, in the store, in that part of the world. So there's almost everything.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I would like to know their histories though. Like, where did they start? I mean, we know they're all from like First Men lineages, but is it possible, that some of them that some of the families of the North that we know got extinct? Are they not extinct? They simply went beyond the wall because they thought that would be a safer bet than having to fight all the time where they were for land. Like, how did they get up there? Like the Thenns. I think the Thenns are interesting. I mean, they're pegged as cannibals on the show, but that's not just who they are. They don't really talk about that a whole lot in the books. And they have a patch of land that is rich in bronze, so their weapons are typically better than all of the other people that are beyond the wall. How did they find that place? Like, who started that colony?
Let's go mining.
Yeah, right. Like how did those people all get up there?
It's really funny because I used to do a lot more prospecting than I do now. But when you go out in the hills and you find these places where it's reported that they've actually found gold, you're like, why are people here? This is so far off the path to Alaska, which brought a lot of people to Washington. But yeah, you just go, what are these people thinking? But there isn't any stone unturned, I think, when it comes to resources and I guess the desire for, financial gain.
Plexi just said something interesting. He said he pictures the Thenns as being closest to the original First Men. I can see that.
Good point.
I could definitely see that. That's a good thought.
Plexi had some great comments last night.
Yes.
I wish I could have stayed for the whole thing because you just came up with so many fantastic references, and yeah, really enjoyed that. Glad you're here. Let's put it that way.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Maria. I appreciate that comment. That was really nice of you.
Yeah, Maria, so what you said earlier about me starting my own theory videos, I don't think anybody wants that. It would be like the most grandiose and weirdest Valyrian steel tinfoil that there ever was. I don't think anyone wants to hear the spewings of my weird imagination.
I think that you're totally incorrect in that. I think we're looking for as much Valyrian steel foil as we can get. I could be totally wrong, but yeah. So I always ask for anybody that's on the live stream that we're doing right now to come up with a question for me, or two, whatever you feel. And we've done live streams before. We've done Westworld videos and buggery and all that kind of stuff. So what questions do you have for me? And you don't have to limit them to A Song of Ice and Fire, but it would probably help.
Timo's shaming me in the chat. I heart you, Timo.
Anybody that shames, that should be shamed is her.
Why are you trying to shame me, madam?
Ding dong.
Let's see. Questions. Okay, well, yeah, I'll stick in the Game of Thrones territory. What do you see as the end game for the Starks thus far, with everything we know?
If you switch your insurance to Geico, you'll save a lot of money.
No, that doesn't work here. No.
I love that commercial, by the way. So obviously Ned is dead. Catelyn will be dead. Robb is dead. Sansa will be dead. Arya will become the Night's Queen. And
no, that is so blasphemy.
Yeah, so Arya, just to let you know, I think the blue Mel, the blue Mel is Arya.
Think the blue Mel is glamored?
Well, faceless, the faceless men version of yeah, I think she's going to take the glamored face of Mel and become the Night's Queen.
Damn it, that is too interesting for me to say. I hate it.
Talk about Valyrian's tinfoil, right?
Damn
you. Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot, because since we've seen Mel unglamored, I think the Night's King would know what's behind door number one, and not want any part of that. So that's why I think it's Arya.
Jon, just damn you to 7 hells and back.
Everybody has said that I've told. They're just like, la la la, no. I don't want to know.
I hate that, but I can't really hate it because it's too fucking interesting, and I honestly would like to see how that would happen. Damn you.
Yeah, well, I think that's Jon's gift to the Night's King, so that they'll go away.
Would he know that it was Arya glamored?
Would Jon know, or would
Jon know?
Of course, yeah. One of the other things too is that we know that Martin was originally intending for Jon and Arya to be romantically involved.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the Nisa thing, where we know his love for her is still genuine, but more of a true family member love, and not the Jaime Cersei type. So it just makes a whole lot of sense, because that would break his heart and be the bittersweet ending that he's been predicting.
Yeah, definitely. Did you see my message on the side?
I did. I didn't. Bear with me. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all right.
Whoa. Okay. Sorry.
All right. 2 minutes.
So let's see what I know. We had a question earlier. Bear with me just a second. I'm going to go back. Sorry, guys, just a little interruption. I know T-Baby had a question there. So sorry, guys. Just to let you guys know, I probably won't be doing the live stream on Sunday. The Super Bowl is going to be going on, and I'm having a hard time with someone that wants to schedule it for Sunday. So unless any of you want to be on and we could do a Sunday morning live stream, then I probably won't do one for Sunday. Although I am available. So.
Okay, I have returned. And I have another question when you're ready.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the Falcons are playing the Patriots, and I know there's a big bunch of you from Atlanta and a bunch of you from New England, and I hope the best team wins. I know it's probably going to be one of the better Super Bowls in recent history. So, yeah, please go ahead.
Well, before I ask, I guess, have you watched or read anything Harry Potter?
I've seen some of the movies. I'm not a reader of Harry Potter.
All right. Book knowledge not necessary for the question.
Okay.
Would you ever play Quidditch? And if so, what position?
Yeah, see, that's the funny thing. I almost said, what's Quidditch? I'm assuming it's a flying game.
Yes.
Yeah, I have no earthly idea, but you'd need 2 brooms to carry me.
I think you'd be surprised, though. Those magical brooms are built to handle a lot, so I don't think a little bit of weight would be an issue.
Lord of the Last Hearth asked, "Where do whores go?" And I think that is the question I've been asking ever since I heard the question.
Why do you think Ross went to King's Landing? War was coming. Even the prostitutes knew that.
That's the funniest answer
War times. Where's the money? In the freaking soldier camps.
Oh, that's funny.
That's an easy question. JD, did I just see JD pop in here?
I didn't.
What's going on, my brother?
I'm locked on the Plexi question, which is what's going on with the Royce armor. And if that is JD, make sure you guys check out his channel because he just released chapter 10.
Yes.
Epic stuff. I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet or listen to the read, but it's definitely on my to-do list.
JD got that fire. Y'all go check out his book, man. It's shaping up to be quite interesting. Thus far, I think my 2 favorite characters are Switch and Blade. They fascinate me. And you guys that don't know what I'm talking about, if you go to JD's channel, you will find out.
Yeah, no kidding. So, yeah, I know you're probably just trolling T-Baby, but his type, well, yeah.
Who would be his type? Well, I don't think it would be anyone like Robert.
Yeah,
he was Ned's best friend, but
I feel bad about bringing that up. Just because of the
why?
Just because I don't want to diminish, what everybody thinks of Ned, and that I'm just reaching for crap to pull out of it.
There are far more truths about Ned that would diminish his character than any tinfoil we could come up with. I call them hard truths. We love our heroes, but they still have flaws.
Monero, when we came on, Alicia said that you can only do about one of those ginger ales per month because that's all we can handle.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's all I'm going to
As
say.
you see, she said
Congratulations.
Valentine's Day, so that'll be February's ginger ale night.
Congratulations on the epic marathon of Monaro Geek TV. That was
That was so much fun.
noteworthy.
I'm so glad that everyone was around and we were able to do that. I love hanging with my girls. Y'all don't understand, man. We are not just YouTube friends. Those are my sisters.
Definitely the Not So Silent Sisters is a perfect name.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we are never
You guys
silent.
are not silent.
That is one thing we definitely are not.
Oh, so what other question do you have for me?
I don't know. You're a Tolkien fan, right?
I'm a huge Tolkien fan, yes.
Okay, here's a question. How do you feel about the whole chapter, the scoring of the Shire, being completely taken out of the movies?
I'm totally okay with that, only because of the length of that story didn't make as much of an impact on the moviegoers versus the book readers. I thought it was a much greater shame that no, I just lost my name. The yellow boots, blue jacket person that the hobbits encounter going from the Barrowlands.
I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I can't remember that name either.
He was a bigger tragedy than the Shire being burned.
I'll give you that.
Because, to know who Sharky is and to know that part of the story, like I said, for a moviegoer, it would just be, why can't they end this?
Extra, yeah. Yeah.
It was already about 40 minutes longer than what most people wanted to begin with. So, yeah.
For everyone that's in the chat who may not be like a Tolkien bookhead like we are, and anyone that watches this later, the scoring of the Shire is the last or like second to last chapter, I believe, in the Return of the King. And it's basically, in the movie when you see Frodo, Merry, Pippin, and Sam going back home, it wasn't all green fields and Rosie welcome and go to Rosie's ale house and have a drink. They had to fight. There was a lot of shit going down. They had a big fight on their hands to get their lands back, and it was epic in the book. It was
almost
really
like The Walking Dead with Alexandria, where they had the gates, the sheriffs with their feathered hats, and
it was pretty nuts. It was a great read. But yeah, like AU said, it wouldn't have made sense narratively for that to be put in the movie. Like the big threat was already handled and done. So having to deal with another group of orcs somewhere that may not have felt the presence of Sauron leave the world wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah, Aerodo brought up Tom Bombadil, so thank you for that.
Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, yes. I don't know how I couldn't remember that. We talked about that last night. A little bit because, Jerry knew I was a Tolkien fan too. So he had some Tolkien related questions as well.
Nice. Have you heard about Beren and Luthien?
Absolutely. Yeah. I was one of the first people that ordered The Children of Hurin when it came out, and can't wait
to get that. I still need to read that.
I could send it to you if you want.
You're so generous. Don't do that. You guys, I say that because AU got me one of the awesomest birthday presents I've ever gotten. He got me the Game of Thrones limited edition Monopoly, and I fangirled like all hell when I got to work, and it was there sitting on my desk waiting for me.
Nice.
It's so epic.
I'm glad you like it.
I highly appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. Yeah, I enjoy Tolkien like crazy. One of my better friends got me into it. After the first movie came out, I was complaining, and he's like, "No, you got to start reading the books." I'm like, "I've never read the books. I don't even think I remembered The Hobbit as The Hobbit." So
You know what? That's a funny thing with books. I'm actually I just glanced up at my TV. There's a Harry Potter movie on right now. I didn't know anything about Harry Potter. I was walking through one of the malls here, and I saw a picture of this kid with an owl on his hand, and the poster said, you know, the magic begins November, blah blah blah. I don't remember what year it came out, but I remember looking at it, and I'm a big fan of fantasy, so I was like, magic, okay, that might be interesting. But this was months before it even was, the previews were even being shown, so I forgot about it. And then the previews started going in, you know, it looked interesting, so took the family to go see it. And I was sitting, I was like, wait a minute, this was that damn poster that I saw forever and a day ago. So, you know, like the nerd I am, I go and do some research. Lo and behold, there's like 5 books out already, similar to my Game of Thrones experience. So swooped them all up, read them in about a month. Went through all the random histories and stuff that I could find. I was like, damn, this was pretty freaking epic. It was made even more epic when I found out more about J.K. Rowling, the author. Like, she started writing this book when she was completely out of work, broke, and damn near homeless with a kid. It's like, damn, like, that's an ingenious way to get back on your freaking feet. And the world is great. You know, and I had very similar beginnings with a Game of Thrones. I didn't know what the hell it was. I like medieval things in general. I always like watching period dated things. So I knew I would like it, but I was big into that. I just started all my writing. I was big into that, so I didn't want more things coming into my head to write about. Broke down around the end of season 4, binged everything within about 2-3 weeks. Was a zombie for about a week after that because I lost so much sleep.
Sure.
And then I caught up with all the episodes. I was like, oh, now I got to be like the normal people and wait. Couldn't wait. So went to YouTube. Then found out that all these books and stuff and everything, and all these theories are out there. I was like, holy fuck, where the hell, why did I not jump in the beginning?
Yeah, who would have guessed, right?
But now I'm here, and yeah, I can't freaking believe it. And I don't even know why you people like listening to my ramblings. I keep telling you guys.
Oh, it's
not
great.
Supposed to be here.
Yeah, it's fun. I totally enjoy listening to everybody. You know, JD, Don, Willie. I mean,
meeting everyone that I've met through this fandom really has been phenomenal, and that's my favorite thing about the whole series. Oddly enough, is connecting with all the folks that I have. All you guys are awesome.
Faux show. And you know, you've got people like Marie from Australia, AirTouch, you know, in Turkey.
Right,
just
like
crazy.
This epic story. Like, I have friends all over the world, literally, because of this damn book series. And I've never connected so much over one single thing with this many people ever. I think it's awesome.
Plexi was asking about the ghost army at the end of Lord of the Rings, Return of the King story. And your question was, do you see George, sorry, back up just a second. Do you see George bringing in the Shade Army?
I think Plexi might be referencing my weird Valyrian steel tinfoil that we were talking about in the chat last night with Aziz and Marie and Nan. Someone had brought up something about the swords that were missing from the crypts of Winterfell.
Sure.
And that made me think, you know, like, why did the Starks start burying their dead versus burning them, which wasn't just a Targaryen thing. The first men did that too. But now we have this epic crypt and these iron swords over their laps, supposedly to keep their spirits from roaming or whatever. But iron in like real world superstitions and whatnots, iron is used almost like salt is, right, as a means to block and combat like fairies and different types of spirits and whatnots. So that made me think, what if those swords are there so nothing can take those spirits, not necessarily so they can come out? And then again, that also made me think of Lord of the Rings. You know, did Bran the Builder know something that may have been passed down in the world. You know, there always has to be a Stark in Winterfell, because if some shit really goes down, that person knows how to get that backup spirit army to come and protect the castle if needed. Again, like I said, tinfoil, and it's a really, really huge reach. It was a random thought that made sense.
Yeah, there's got to be something to the iron and the fact that they're positioned the way they're at, you know, the way they are.
Right, and all of them have those direwolf statues next to them.
Exactly.
I mean, there's got to be something to that. Nothing is done in this story without a reason.
If you're a Stark, why wouldn't you have the kennel masters keep direwolves? That's what I don't understand.
Well, I think when they built the wall, that blocked off a lot of area for the direwolves to really come down. I think that might be, you know, what happened, because, you know, we know from the histories and lore that Starks always had direwolves going into battle with them.
Right.
If you look at the kennels the way they are now, those cages are way too big for just regular dogs. You know, Winterfell kept and probably bred direwolves. But once, you know, the wall was built up, they didn't range that far south anymore. So they eventually, I think, just died off, or possibly even got killed off. You know, there were a lot of wars back then.
Well, you have a direwolf in the Varamir chapter, the prologue. I just don't know why, you know, it just seems kind of weird to have them as your sigil. It's kind of like the bats of the House Went, you know, not having bats.
Well, see, I think that's one that those giant bats probably were a creature that were around that area, because you remember when the first men and the children were fighting, it says like the children, you know, warged and skin changed into all different manners of beasts and animals to fight the first men. So I think that's where a lot of those ancient sigils came from.
True indeed. Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more.
That is just a guess, though. Who knows? George probably has something way more outstanding in mind, but that's where my head goes.
Yeah. No, there's got to be something to that. So anyway, so I don't want to take up a lot more of your time. I know that it's hugely appreciated for what you're doing.
It's Friday. I do have a job, but I ain't got shit to do.
All right.
So I'm here for as long as you want me here, man.
Very cool. I really didn't have any questions that I had generated for the chat. So if you
chat room, shoot us some questions.
Yeah, if you want to, we'll go back to the chat and see if we can't get them to generate some epic questions that they might have.
Yes,
I know JD's always
pick the mind of the Great Maester and the Lord Commander.
I am no maester. I hate childbirth. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, I have seen natural childbirth, and let me tell you, for you people that haven't, them little tutorials and videos that they show you in sex ed class ain't shit. No. Actual childbirth, I'm good. Yeah,
I've only done the birth room with my daughter as a cesarean, and that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that, but I wouldn't want to do it on a regular basis, and I wouldn't want to be a maester anyway. I'm not disciplined enough.
The maesters do be shady though. So yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't be a maester. No, you're awesome. See, Plexi's got a question.
Okay.
Says, why do you think Ashara was expelled from court? You know, that is a very good question. And I don't know. As horrible of an answer as that is, I really don't know. Because people only get expelled from court really when they do bad things. And I don't see Ashara really doing any. Like, her and Elia were damn near best friends. So I don't know. There's probably some conspiracy in there somewhere.
Well, don't you think it's just a matter of time before any of the handmaidens at court were kicked out?
But then again, actually, when exactly did she leave King's Landing? Do we know that date? Because it's highly possible that once, war started breaking out Elia might have just told her, look, leave, go home, where you're most likely going to be safe, because shit's not safe in King's Landing at all.
I'm looking for a date now.
So I don't know. Yeah, that's a very good question.
Starting to read Game of Thrones all over again.
Yeah, man. Seriously, like I said, I don't agree with everything that the Order of the Green Hand has been putting out, but they really made me think, like, have I been reading some of these stories wrong? So yeah, I've been doing a lot of random research, and of course, we got the conspiracy twins on the Not So Silent Sister Squad. They're always coming up with stuff in Monero. Might as well call them the conspiracy triplets now, because
no kidding,
they build them rabbit holes and they drag us all in. T baby, is a blood raven good or evil? Didn't we talk about that for like 2 hours?
Yeah.
Already, T.
What was your vote? Because you were
I voted evil, but I'm still unsure of whether it's of his own free will or not. I think there's a very large chance that he may be being controlled.
So basically, if I'm understanding you correctly, you think that he was good up until he went to the last ranging when he left around 288.
Well, even then, he was morally ambiguous, I guess might be the phrase, because he was a loyal servant to the crown. Mm-hmm. He absolutely, definitely was, but he still did some fucked up shit. Like I said, we love our heroes, but they all have flaws.
But not as bad as someone like Tywin.
Yeah, true enough. Definitely not. But yeah, I don't know. I want to say he is evil, because I don't believe the Children of the Forest have good intentions at all. I just don't know that he's doing everything that he's done, being the last Green Seer, for his own beliefs.
Right.
Let's see. I did see another question, but I think there may have been one before it. Yes, there was. Ion Trone says, is Stannis a great king or the greatest king? I'm gonna say neither of those. Is Stannis the one true king? Yes, by rights of succession, he should be on the throne. Would he have been great being there? He certainly would have thought he would have been, but I don't think that he would have lasted very long, in the long run. I think there would have been a hell of rebellions with him being in charge. But that's Stannis. He is a great character. I have a lot of love and respect for Stannis, but I don't think him being a king would have necessarily been a great thing. If that answers your question, I hope it does.
Yeah, I don't know why he never went to King's Landing after Robert died, or before, even before Robert died, to present him with Joffrey's a bastard and Jon Arryn knew it and blah blah blah. We meant to tell you, but then he got right. He died.
Because it seems like Stannis left before Jon Arryn was poisoned. Yeah, exactly. So why not stay and help him? Stannis, it's possible that he could have prevented that from happening. I mean, Stannis is a very, very intuitive person. And if he already saw through, that random bullshit that those kids were bastards, I'm pretty sure he would have been figuring out a whole bunch of other stuff pretty rapidly after that. But again, just my crazy thought.
Yeah. Stannis is one of those characters that, you want to like, for me, but I just couldn't ever get into him.
Yeah.
Not the way like James Michelle or even Tony Teflon is.
Agreed. Hey, let's see. There's another one here. Didn't Barristan say that Ashara left in shame? Did she? I thought he was talking about the shame was after Harrenhal, where he says that she was shamed by a Stark, but he didn't name which Stark.
Well, I think what we're talking about is her leaving King's Landing and at the request of the Queen, which was the issue that we're talking about.
Okay, I don't remember then.
So she died in 300 AC, which doesn't make sense. That can't be right. Yeah, I don't know that this is accurate. I'm on Westeros.org, which is usually pretty accurate. So, yeah, I'll just go from there. I'll move on to another question because that's
I don't have a clear answer for that one. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. T Baby says, why didn't Tywin see that Littlefinger was a threat? I asked myself that a lot because Tywin could see through everybody's bullshit. Now you saw how he did Pycelle on the show. He saw clean through, like, you ain't no frail ass old man looking around doing nothing, bro. Don't you talking to me? This is me. This is Tywin Lannister you talking to, son. Don't fucking play me with that bullshit. So that really makes me wonder. Like, I think he may possibly have had some type of notion about it, which is why he made Tyrion Master of Coin. But I think if Tywin would have looked in on it a bit more, then he would have seen it sooner. But, you know, Tywin wasn't really that worried about it at the time, I don't think.
Yeah, their history goes back a long ways, and I think that's a great question. Because he's definitely putting a lot of pressure on the crown, you know, because he was lending money to the crown as well. And you would think that if you have someone that's, you know, the master of coin doing the job that he's supposed to, he should be able to pull it out as far as making it more profitable.
Right. And Tyrion did say that it would take him like years to figure out where the money actually went and where it is, so he could balance the books. So I think Tywin may have had an inkling, but he didn't see it as really important, so he didn't pay attention to it.
Broke is taking off. I want to say thanks for being here. We appreciate it, and I know that we'll be watching your channel soon. Yeah,
good night, Broke. Me and him are actually going to be on tomorrow evening, I believe, talking about The Walking Dead, so you guys tune in for that.
Nice.
Now, Plexi,
you know what I'm talking about.
Plexi actually just put something up. He said that, yeah, he just looked it up, and it was Barristan saying that at Harrenhal. So it wasn't, she didn't leave King's Landing in shame.
What does that mean?
From the question earlier, when he said, didn't Barristan say that Ashara left in shame? We thought it was for King's Landing, but I thought that it was Harrenhal, so he just looked it up and he said that it was Harrenhal, so
gotcha.
That knows the question pretty much. Now there is another one here. It says, do you think Bloodraven chose Bran and Jon because they're wargs and skin changers? Bran, definitely. You know, there has to be a green seer on that throne. For what reason, I don't know, but it's highly significant. I think there was someone there before Bloodraven. I don't know who. But, you know, Bloodraven is old and frail now. They're not going to be able to pull a whole lot from him anymore. So they need a new body. Which, again, is why I think that he may be being controlled. I think that's
absolutely
just what the children have been doing. Jon, he's another of those ice and fire babies, you know? So I think it's highly possible. You know, people are after the Starks because of that magic in their blood. You know, Bloodraven wanted Bran, House of Black and White wanted Arya, more tinfoil. I think they were hip to her before she even left the North, and I think they've been tracking her for a long, long time. But you know, that's what it is. There's a lot of magical properties in that Stark lineage that has blended in over the years. It makes them very powerful.
One of the things that Aziz said last night that was surprising to me was that the green seers are marked by the gods with either like green eyes or red eyes.
Red eyes, yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, but Littlefinger has green eyes.
Does he?
Bran has nothing, which always confused me because I never understood why Bloodraven would pick, the three-eyed raven would pick Bran. He's not in any different person than any of the other Starks, that we've heard in the story. So him picking, I don't even know that he actually picked Bran. I think he just was able to put those dreams into the thoughts into his dreams, I guess is the best way to put it. And he acted on them because of his warging ability. But
hold on real quick. I just saw, I don't know if we've missed him or not, but I just saw that JD had to leave. So good night.
I'm sorry, JD.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah. Too many screens I'm looking at the same time. Sorry.
Yeah, see, I wonder if, there's a theory that you have some part of you has to be broken to unlock like the green seer in you, which I don't fully believe because, Jojen seemed to be functioning well enough. He wasn't a fighter, but who says you need to be a fighter?
Did you hear what Steffi said about that?
No.
So check this out. Bloodraven has one eye missing because of the bitter steel.
Yes.
And usually when you have an eye puncture like that, it goes to the brain, especially when it's a sword. So she's thinking, that's a mortal wound. And then Bran's fall from the tower was a mortal wound. And maybe that's what woke up the third eye in both of them. That's what they have in common, is they both had situations where they were mortally basically dead, just like Jon. And because they were brought back to life, they were brought back with the ability to green see.
I can somewhat see that, with the exception of Aemon One Eye and Simeon Star Eyes. They both lost their eyes and they survived. So it's not impossible to survive a wound like that.
Sure.
But
Christina just showed up. Hi, Christina. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. You better be done making them tacos and stuff for the family, man. Trying to sneak in here.
She said she can't hear anything because the house is full. That's the best.
I think with Bran, it may be because he was the most susceptible to get to at the time, if that makes sense. Like Robb isn't running around by himself and climbing walls, putting himself in dangerous situations. Jon's not doing that. And, Jon had that connection with Ghost from the very get-go. So I don't think that anything necessarily extra special awoke in him after he died. I think he already had those powers. Arya certainly wasn't running around climbing anything or putting herself in major danger. And we all know what Sansa was doing, sewing dolls up somewhere.
Exactly.
So Bran, he was the one. He was adventurous. He lived for those stories about things beyond the wall. Like, he always wanted to be scared, so he wanted to hear all the war stories and everything that went on way back in the day with the others. And like, he thrived on all that magic that he heard about. So with him, he just happened to be in the perfect position. And I think they looked for him because it was always going to be him. As they say, the ink is dry.
That was one of those statements that as soon as he said that, it was disproven. So I thought it was kind of strange.
Yeah, it's one of those time paradox things,
Yeah, the other part about the Blackwoods, which is half of Bloodraven's family, they were kicked out of the north, back to the Riverlands, right?
Yeah, they were pushed out.
And when you have the Boltons there skinning your family, or even stories of that happening, how is it that the Boltons can stay, but the Blackwoods had to leave?
Yeah, see, like, what exactly was the conflict with the Blackwoods? Or did they just decide to leave of their own accord? But then again, even if that is the case, why? So the Boltons, there was something I read. I don't remember if it was on Reddit or on the wiki, but someone thought that because the Starks had like this skin changer and warg gene, that the Boltons saw them more as animals. And, what do you do in the North to make a coat? You skin an animal.
Mm-hmm.
So that person posited that, that's why they flayed and they wore their skins. Because we know the Boltons flayed a bunch of people, but it never talked about them wearing anyone's skins except the Starks. So it makes you wonder, Why is that?
Well, I think they might have been jealous of them skin changing and their ability to do that, and that's what prevented them from doing it again. Plexi has another interesting thought that I hate to interrupt you for, but I don't want to lose this. He often thinks about George making a statement by making Bloodraven an archer and the levy of the volunteer archers. It's ironic that he gave Bloodraven a wound to the eye and not the knights that he takes down. So in other words, yeah, that's very, very true. I think the weirwood bow factor is pretty unique.
Definitely a connection.
The fact that he has raven's teeth.
Again, like, who gets their own personal army within the army?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's something to be looked at there. Absolutely. How many eyes does Bloodraven have? 1,001. And I think it was last night. I don't remember who said it, but someone was like, is that 1,000 the weirwood net? And then
I think Marie's taken off. Thanks for being here.
Who's leaving?
I think Marie Hill's leaving. So.
Oh, good night, Marie.
Yep.
Thank you for coming in.
We'll see you soon. Again, great stream last night. That was awesome, having Aziz on. And Steffi brought up some great points.
Yeah, Steffi had some really good points last night.
Ashley is going to be on next Thursday from the Iron Underneath. And she always brings in the obscure mythological references.
That is why epic. I love her channel. If you guys have not checked out the Iron Underneath, she pulls in a lot of thoughts where mythology is concerned. Mm-hmm. And she's so on point with these things. It's great listening to her go on about this stuff.
Yeah, Go check her out. One of the brightest panels that is out there, obviously besides the Not So Silent Sisters.
Oh, no. Give them all the love. Yeah, I'm really glad that they got that group together and they're going now. I always said the more channels we have to watch, the more we have to talk about. So yeah, keep them coming, guys.
Yep, love it. For sure. Yeah, the whole Raven's Teeth. I really like your Bill Nye the Science Guy meme.
Straight out of Nerd. It's Bill Nye, Neil deGrasse,
sure.
And my God, why can I not remember this man's name right now?
Hawking,
yes. Stephen Hawking. If you can't read it at the top, it says these guys look like they're about to drop an album so hot you have to measure it in Kelvin. Straight out of nerddom.
I got to see him at a Mariners game because he's originally from Seattle. And
nice.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Now we're going to look at Junior. Junior has a smile on his face because he's going to be petty for the whole day. And if you guys ever saw a problem child, this motherfucking bastard was petty as hell. Junior would make Dennis the Menace look like a cakewalk. All right, do we have any more questions, guys? I think I snagged them all. If I missed one, put it back up. Make sure you put that QA in front of it so we can see it.
Not so silent Sunday, huh? All right. Well, I'm gonna call it if that's okay with you.
All right, yeah, we're good.
We got to sleep, right?
At some point, probably better that way.
I think you'll probably be doing some buggery anyways later.
Possibly, I don't know. We usually do those on Sphinx's channel, but the captain is locked
Occupied.
down with family at the moment, so we might not be seeing her this weekend at all.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, definitely. All love to the family.
Yeah. So I do want to thank you very much, Alicia, for being on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, whether it's Game of Thrones or not. It's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate you helping me continue my 30 days of live stream.
I'm absolutely happy to be here. This was fun. I hope I didn't bore you guys with my ramblings in the chat. Hope everyone enjoyed and was entertained. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, please stay tuned because we're going to be having different times for these live streams the next couple of days. And like I said, I probably won't even do one Sunday unless I hear from somebody at aupackmule@gmail.com. I probably will do one Sunday, but at any rate, I hope you enjoyed it, and looking forward to the next one. And again, thanks for all the great input from the chat, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Again, make sure you eat dessert first, wander like a dog, and wander aimlessly. Have a great day, everybody.
Hasta.